The following article is from fastcomedy.com and was written on Tuesday. Last week, Apple announced it would cancel one of its first shows that it had ever greenlit for the streaming service Apple TV+. That show is Mythic Quest. Mythic Quest, a show that first launched on the tech giant's then fledgling streaming service in February of 2020, was about the escapades of an MMORPG video game developer. I didn't know that was a word. Anyways, it was axed after the last episode of its fourth season, which aired on March 26th. Like many season finales, the last episode of Mythic Quest ended on a cliffhanger, so when viewers learned of its cancellation, they assumed that they would never get any resolution to the storyline and characters that they had followed for 4 whole seasons. Yet, then Apple TV, well, just Apple in general, they did something unexpected. They allowed the show producers to re-edit the 4th season ending to give closure to the storyline and the fans. If there's one thing subscribers to streaming services have come to accept, it's that they should never get too connected to a new series. Why is that? Well, because you never know if the streamer is going to axe it just after a season or two. One streamer in particular, Netflix, is notorious for doing this. The streaming giant will often premiere a new series to see what sticks with audiences, but even if those series are critically and commercially well received, there's no guarantee that viewership will be high enough to clear whatever bar Netflix uses to justify a next season. Often it isn't, and this has left a slew of abruptly cancelled shows that ended on cliffhangers and left unsure fans of how things would have ended. Such shows include the critically acclaimed zombie series Black Summer, the horror series Archive 81, the sitcom Space Force, and the science fiction show 1899, just to name a few. They all had seasons that ended on major cliffhangers, and then they all got canceled shortly after. But to be fair, Netflix really isn't the only streamer that does this. HBO Max and Amazon Prime are guilty of doing this too, and of course before the world of streaming, network television was also guilty of canceling shows on cliffhangers, though not to the degree that streamers appear to be willing to do it. Historically, networks were always more generous with giving shows the time they need to find an audience, even if that took 3 or 4 seasons. A good example being Seinfeld. But what is unheard of is the streamer allowing the creatives of a canceled series to go back and re-edit the already aired last episode so that the show and its fans can have some proper closure. Yet that's precisely what Apple has done now. Last Friday, so that would be probably the 11th, I think? I don't know. This article came out on Tuesday. Anyways, the Mythic Quest creators and executive producers, Megan Gantz, David Hornsby, and Rob McElhenney, the guy from It's Always Sunny, you know that guy. They announced that Apple had given them permission to re-edit the original season 4 cliffhanger to provide closure to the storyline, characters, and fans. Endings are hard, but after 4 incredible seasons, Mythic Quest is coming to a close. We're so proud of the show and the world we got to build, and deeply grateful to every cast and crew member who poured their heart into it. To all of our fans, thank you for playing with us. To our partners in Apple, thank you for believing in the vision from the very beginning. Because endings are hard, with Apple's blessing, we made one final update to our last episode, so we could say goodbye, instead of just game over. That final update to the show's last episode is a re-edit of the Series 4 finale titled Heaven and Hell. At this time, it's unknown how significantly the final episode had been re-edited, but it will be released on Apple TV Plus later this week. Well, fans of the show will be no doubt happy they at least got to have some closure to the storylines and characters that they have followed for years. It's unlikely that Apple's move represents the beginning of a systemic shift in the shifting streaming, whatever, in the industry of streaming. It's not really known why Apple has decided to allow the show's creators to go back and edit the last episode, or what the terms of the deal were. Mythic Quest's creators' statements suggest that no new scenes were shot, and instead they accomplished the re-edit simply by using existing footage that they had already shot. Fast Company has reached out to Apple for a comment, but realistically, we probably shouldn't expect other streamers to follow the same thing that Apple is doing. Streaming services cancel dozens of shows each year, and most shows that suddenly get canceled likely wouldn't have enough unused footage to re-edit a final cliffhanger episode into something that provides a cohesive amount of closure. It's also unlikely that a streamer will be willing to pay for the creatives and star to go back out to shoot new footage to provide such closure, given that they've already canceled the show and thus didn't see the value in it to their bottom line. However, what will be interesting to see is how Apple handles the re-edited episode. It's unknown whether Apple will keep the originally streamed season 4 finale on Apple TV plus, Apple TV Plus alongside the new edit of the episode, or if they're just gonna simply remove the original entirely. Either way, though, fans of Mythic Quest will be happy that the show is getting the concrete ending that all shows deserve. And that's the whole video. I really hope you guys, enjoyed this video. And my next video will kind of be connected to my Bodyguard video, because I'm talking about another movie being remade. And it's Michael Giacchino's remake. Okay, no. The video will be about Matt Reeves remaking Michael Giacchino's Them.